This is the kind of video that deserves an entire documentary about it. The only issue with that is, I'm terrible at editing.
You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. You've hid your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform.
Yo, what's up? My name's Petrowski, and welcome to my video. If you enjoyed today's content, please do make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like it. Today, I'm going to be taking you guys on a journey through the history of the shiny rate in PokeMMO. For those who don't know, PokeMMO is a fan-made Pokemon MMO, and it's currently, in my opinion, the best Pokemon MMO out there, if not the best Pokemon game, and it has a pretty ripe history with a lot of things, especially the shiny rate. Now, the PokeMMO community and its devs have a really interesting relationship, especially when it comes to communication. They're not necessarily the best, and that's going to come into play today when I go ahead and explain and tell you guys why the shiny rate in PokeMMO was a mystery for almost 6 years. Now, our journey begins back in 2013 when PokeMMO was at its infancy. This was its first real year on the market after being created in around mid-2012. It only had one region in it at the time. It ran off of one ROM, being Pokemon Fire Red. Now, back then, the shiny rate was actually confirmed in-game. You could go to the FAQ and see it followed the traditional rules of Pokemon at the time, being 1 out of 8,192. Keep in mind, this was back before Hordes and Sweet Scent existed, so the only shiny hunting quote-unquote method in the game was single encounter shiny hunting method, aka running back and forth in a patch of grass over and over and over again until you see that slightly discolored Pokemon. People often laugh at this method and even discredit it. They say, why would you waste your time quote-unquote shiny hunting? It wasn't even seen as a legitimate gameplay method when you could go be XP training, EV training, or playing through the storyline. But there was a few select players who pushed against that and thought that shiny hunting had a legitimate place in PokeMMO. Alright, so Petrowski, if the shiny rate was known, how was it a mystery for 6 years? Well, everything changed in around 2014. In around late 2014 to early 2015, the shiny rate on the FAQ disappeared. It was taken off by the developers for no known reason. Why would they do this? Why would they want the shiny rate to be a mystery? Were they changing it? Were they rigging it for certain players? Did they want new players to get more shinies than older players to intrigue them to the game? Rumors started spreading and everything boiled over. Forum posts started popping up of people calling the shiny rate rigged or saying it possibly was dynamic and benefited newer players so that they would be popped into the game and intrigued into the game more. Everyone was furious. Everyone was uneasy. There was no confirmations by the devs until around 2015. On June 18th, 2015, we got confirmation that the original shiny rate was altered in PokeMMO to a lower and dynamic rate, meaning it changed depending on a couple of different factors. And on that day, June 18th, 2015, we got a response from Caillou, one of the head administrators of PokeMMO, clarifying the shiny rate in PokeMMO, or at least we thought it was clarification. Caillou went on to say, the shiny rate in PokeMMO hasn't been static for almost a year. It's variable depending on things like whether donator status is active, where you got your Pokemon, what you've been doing, and how new you are, how much we think you're cheating, etc. A lot of the RNG for drops you encounter in the game is tailored in this format to combat cheating. This was a bombshell at the time. A lot of the players' beliefs and thoughts became true. The rate was dynamic. They were adjusting it for new players to some extent. But the biggest bombshell of all is that they didn't tell us the shiny rate. It had been changed, it had become a lot rarer, but we had no idea what that number was, let alone the adjustments and the calculations that went into it. Players were furious to find out that new players might be being favored just to get them hooked into the game more, so the devs had to come out with a response, and they did, and in my opinion, a pretty fair response. Because how new you are was stated to be one of the modifiers of the shiny rate, people with a longer playtime considers themselves to be unlucky. The question if an account gets cursed arose, and Caillou posted this. There's no form of permanent cursing except with admin intervention. When it's used, it's to monitor bots/botnets until we ban them a few days later. There isn't any weighting in favor of new players. You see more shinies on new players because there are many, many more noobs than older players. That is a very good point and a very common problem that actually still exists in PokeMMO today. There's an influctuation of new players, but keeping players around has been kind of a difficult issue for them to solve over the past decade. And then finally, the third point, the game's RNG is not rigged in a way where it thinks you're entitled to a shiny encountered after a period of time. Some people will roll the dice for a day and get lucky, others will come up short for years. This was a pretty fair response in my opinion, and it definitely quelled a lot of the outrage and anger that players held, but some players definitely still kept that pent-up frustration and went on to express it via forum posts or in-game riots. This is also where a lot of the distrust between the community and the devs stems from to this day. Distrust and frustrations carried on for over a year until July 5th, 2016, Desu had to put out a shiny PSA. Shinies in You, an informative PSA. While there's nothing to say that hasn't already been said in some form or another, here's a few important facts that keep getting distorted. Aside from donator status, there is no significant way in which players can boost their shiny rates. New players do not have a better chance than older. Most importantly, RNG is RNG. You're never guaranteed a shiny no matter what. Statistical outliers will exist in both extremes, and for every new player who gets a shiny, many thousands more do not. Encountering a lot of things like using hordes is still the most effective way to encounter a shiny, and here's some data on the last 100 shiny captures to prove that. The average playtime is 15.76 days, the minimum playtime is 1.67 hours, the highest playtime is 235 days, and 78 out of 100 were captured by a player with more than 24 hours of playtime. This was a good inside glimpse to PokeMMO data, something that isn't showed to us very often, if ever. This was definitely a good move and a good way to earn back some trust from the community, but the problem still arose that we still didn't know the shiny rate. The shiny rate at this point has been a mystery from effectively 2014 all the way up till 2016 at this current time. And that mystery number would last for another 2 years until 2018. When on January 6th, 2018, we finally got maybe the most clear information and most communication we have ever gotten from a PokeMMO dev. Caillou posted this. We modify the odds based on two factors right now. Anti-cheat, which reduces your rate, and donator status, which increases your rate. The anti-cheat metrics don't apply to the vast majority of players, and they are temporary in-game. There is no permanent cursing of odds. It's an automated process tested for third-party software, which is botting on the player's behalf. Some things like scripted events, gift Pokemon have a 0% chance for shiny, and each player has the same base rate, which we modify against. This rate hasn't changed in a while, but it is currently 1 out of 30,000. We probably won't change it again. 1 out of 30,000. No one would have guessed this number in a million years. Why they picked this number, no one really knows, but we all knew it was astronomically high, and it really set a standard for shiny hunting in PokeMMO. But that is essentially it. That's the end of our story. In 2018, we found out the rates were 1 out of 30K. So between 2014 and 2018, we had no idea. The community was left to guess and crawl and scramble as to what the shiny rate truly was. Now at the beginning of this video, I said almost 6 years, and it turns out I actually misspoke and I was just wrong, so I apologize for that. Even after that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do make sure to like the video and subscribe for future PokeMMO content. It totally motivates me and just encourages me to make more content like this. A lot of times on YouTube, high effort edited content like this just isn't worth it when I can pump out videos day in and day out, especially when I'm already making 2 pieces of PokeMMO content every day. Putting out a high quality edited piece of content like this is a big to do. So if you want to see more like this, please do remember to support the video. And if you want to go above and beyond, you can actually become a YouTube member for $5 a month, drop a Twitch Prime or a Twitch sub over my Twitch, hit up my Patreon or my Venmo or my PayPal. All the kinds of financial support are linked in the description below. That kind of support is, of course, never needed, but it is appreciated, and it does allow me to keep being full-time and keep making great PokeMMO content for you guys. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope I'll see you next one. See you guys later, and best of luck on your shiny hunts.